Hi everyone. Today we'll be reading Be Still Little Tree, Be Still by Sean Elliott Russell. In front of a house made of red-colored brick, a yard full of flowers and grass that was thick, was home to a new little tree that was planted right next to an older tree, bigger and slanted. "Hi, Mr. Tree," said the new little one. "Hello there, little tree. Where are you from?" "I came from a nursery. It was indoors, but I'm loving it here. There's sunshine galore." He was playful and free, with a heart full of glee, so grateful to be in that yard by the tree. Then one day the little tree noticed a change. The sky became darker, the clouds were all strange. "What's wrong with the sky? Why does it flash? What is that grumble?" the little one asked. "I almost forgot you grew up indoors." "Well, little tree, this here is a storm." Boom went the thunder like a dynamite blast. It scared the little tree, his heart beating fast. When he got wet, he asked Mr. Tree, "What is this water that's falling on me?" "There's so much I feel like I'm drowning," he cried. "That's rain, little friend," the big tree replied. The little tree shook as a gust of wind blew and pushed all his branches, pulling them too. "I want to go hide. I'm scared of the sound. I wish I could jump up out of the ground and run in the house. I feel so afraid. Oh, please, Mr. Tree, make them go away." He thought he could help him hide from the storm, but Mr. Tree stood there in powerful form and whispered, not sounding worried or thrilled, "Be still, little tree, be still." Soon the clouds had all passed and thunder was gone. The birds all returned for a feast on the lawn. The little tree stood there, soaked from the rain, glad it was over but feeling ashamed. "I never want to get rained on again. I hate thunderstorms," he said to his friend. He thought they were bad 'cause they made him afraid, and if he stayed away, he'd be safe and okay. But a week or two later, another one came, and poor little tree was stuck in the rain. He'd cried and he'd fight, shaking in fear, praying the lightning and rain disappeared. That's when his buddy would tell him so dear, "Be still, little tree, be still." After the storm, the little tree slept, tired from all the tears that he wept. And when he awoke, he asked Mr. Tree, "How come you never have tried to help me? The thunder is scary, the wind tries to push me, but you only stand there trying to shush me." "My dear little friend, I do want to help. That's why I tell you what I tell myself. I once was a tree even smaller than you, and one day the storm came thundering too. I was afraid, but the tree by the root said, 'Be still, little tree, be still.' She told me that fear is just like a storm. It comes out of nowhere and thunders and pours. But sooner or later, it all goes away, so if you are still, then you'll be okay. Don't run from the storm, don't fight it or try. Be still and just feel it as it passes by. Feel the rain as it falls, don't say that it's bad. Hear the roar of the thunder that sounds like it's mad. Be still in the storm, no matter how strong, and before you know it, the storm will be gone." "Is that why you always look peaceful and calm?" the little tree asked as he followed along. "I still feel afraid every now and again," said Mr. Tree to his curious friend. "But when I'm afraid, I say to myself, 'Be still, little tree, be still,' and it helps." Just as his friend had finished his sentence, crashes of lightning struck in the distance. "Remember, my friend, just try to be still. The storm may be strong, but so is your will. And if the storm's throwing you roughly about, concentrate on your breath as it goes in and out." With that advice, the little tree readied to follow the steps so he could be steady. The sky became darker, the storm was now close, large and ferocious, stronger than most. He stood very still, feeling the winds shake all of his branches and pass through his limbs. He stood very still and slowly he breathed, while feeling the rain pour down on his leaves. He stood very still, hearing the thunder, even when wanting to run under the cover. And as the wind grew and pushed him around, he swayed with the wind while holding his ground. He said to himself under the thousands of drops, "It's raining right now, but soon it will stop." In thunder and lightning, he peacefully thought, "Be still, little tree, be still." After an hour, the storm went away. It may have been scary, but he was okay. Mr. Tree, did you see how I did? I stood really still and never once hid. I saw, little friend, you made me so proud, and now you can make it through any great cloud." Storms would arise and storms would depart, but little tree always had peace in his heart. Then one day he noticed while looking around, the ground seemed like it was a lot further down. His trunk had got thicker, his branches were longer. He felt kind of different, bigger and stronger. "Hey, Mr. Tree, what's happened to me? I used to have 2 branches, now I have 3. "The rain, little tree, it's helped you get strong. Sometimes what we fear is what helps us along. The rain is a gift that's feeding your roots. That's how we grow, leaves and branches of fruit. If rain didn't pour, we'd always be small. You may think it's bad, but it's not bad at all." The little tree stood in amazement and thought, the storm that I feared would hurt me a lot was really just trying to help me to grow. And so, when the skies would thunder and glow, he'd smile and say, so peaceful and slow, "Be still, little tree, be still." Over the years, he got even stronger. The little tree wasn't so little much longer. Early one morning, he opened his eyes to welcome the sun and was caught by surprise. Not too far away, the length of a car, was a new little tree standing there in the yard. "Hi, Mr. Tree," said the small one to him. "Hello, little tree," he replied with a grin. "I'm happy to meet you. Where are you from?" "A nursery, said the little one. They spoke through the morning and mid-afternoon until they were stopped by the sound of a boom. Both of them stared at the clouds rolling in as they covered the sun and the sky became grim. Mr. Tree, what's going on? Why is it dark and the wind blowing strong? I almost forgot. You grew up indoors? Well, little tree, this here is a storm." The new little tree looked frozen in fear. Her eyes became wider and glossy with tears. There, little tree, don't be so afraid. But I am Mr. Tree. Will we be okay? Should I try to go hide, or what should I do?" Mr. Tree didn't speak for a moment or two. He stared at the storm as he thought of the times he was terribly terrified, wanting to hide. But because of his friend, who was helpful and kind, he could stand in the storm and be peaceful inside. Overcome with emotion, he smiled and cried, so grateful that he was a tree and alive. Looking back at his scared little friend, he replied, "Be still, little tree, be still." The end.